There is no magic wand. The only wand there is rapport and trust with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we build confidence and pride in ourselves and we feel good about ourselves and we want to keep doing something over and over again is by building that rapport and trust. And that's this momentum loop. That's how you get going. That's how you get better self-talk, more positive emotions in your life. You get better results and you want to keep doing these things over and over again.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose and relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast. Oh, we're so excited to be with you. As always, we're going to talk about something today that I think is going to hit home for almost everybody out there. But before that, I want to introduce Erin Verdis, the sensational Erin Verdis.
I was going to say, where's my intro?
No. I was getting there.
I know you were.
And I'm Chris.
Oh, just Chris.
Just Chris.
We're gonna have to start switching this up a little bit.
Okay, it's a possibility.
Definitely.
But once again, welcome. Erin and I are going to get right to it today because today's topic is something that every single one of us out there experience every single day, many times each day. Correct, Erin?
100%. And I was telling Chris before we jumped on just a few minutes ago, one of the coolest things about being a life coach or any kind of a teacher where you're teaching something to anybody else is that it's like everything's a mirror for Chris and I. So I'll get off a coaching call with a parent or one of the girls I coach, and I always stop and reflect, and I see how this shows up in my own life. And
yeah.
So I'll get off the call with a parent that I'm coaching or maybe one of the young women I coach, and I'll always sit there for a few minutes and I'll reflect. How is this showing up in my own life, or a situation that happened that morning or the day before will come up for me. And so Chris and I get this amazing opportunity to take all of these tools and strategies and challenges that we get to coach on and hear from our clients and apply them to our own lives. And this one is all the time. And
it's all the time.
All the time. And when we say what it is, you're going to recognize that it's all the time for you as well.
Wow, what a build-up. This is like the classic movie trailer build-up to the epic climax.
Well, and the thing is, if you listen to our podcast regularly, this isn't going to be a new word. We talk about this all the time, but we're going to go a lot deeper today. And that is, drum roll, ready?
Christmas vacation drum roll right there.
Exactly. Resistance.
Wah,
wah. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Resistance. And today we're going to talk about not just how to overcome resistance, because that's such an easy thing to say. Well, how do we manage resistance and overcome it? But we're going to explain why it shows up in our lives every day, all day, especially when we're going to do some of the most important things, the healthiest things, the things we know are best for us. Why does this resistance show up? Where does it come from? How can we pivot that? And then what are some practices we can put in place today to start working on that? Because the truth is, you guys, resistance is not laziness. Doesn't mean you're undisciplined. It doesn't mean any of us are just unmotivated. That's a bunch of crap. We are probably very motivated, most of us. We have discipline. We all have it within us. It's just when we get caught in this loop of resistance that we're going to talk about, it's so easy to start labeling ourselves and beating ourselves up and being negative.
Yes. And the reality is that almost everybody, all of us, you have goals. You have things that are important to you. They could be small things that you want to get done every day that are going to make you feel good or help you move forward, or just meaningful to you. Erin has meaningful goals. I have meaningful goals. But the real challenge is when you have meaningful things that you want, that's ironically when the resistance really gets strong. It really starts to show up, and most importantly, it holds us back. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't feel good. And that's what we want to talk about today so that we can break that loop and break that cycle and help all of us move forward because of what that can mean to our life and how we feel, and probably most importantly, our confidence. If we're confident in who we are, all of a sudden a lot of other things start to open up to us too. Mm-hmm. And so we want to kick things off by jumping right into what we call the resistance loop. And so I think what the biggest challenge most of us face, Erin, is that we're not even aware of this resistance in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like it's there pretty much 24/7.
Yeah.
And we don't know it's there. We don't realize, most importantly, that it's controlling us.
Yeah, it's something that we refer to sometimes as like this invisible struggle that goes on within us mentally. And we're just not aware of it.
No.
And when I say that, it's not to say like you're not aware of it. Often Chris and I aren't either. Like when we mean humans until after the fact. A lot of times in hindsight, we can recognize what happened. Oh my God, I got stuck in this thought. And Chris is going to explain this loop in a minute.
Yeah.
Or I got stuck in this negative self-talk and that's why I didn't get this done. Or what we do in hindsight is, gosh, damn it. Like, why didn't I get this done?
Yeah.
I said I was going to do it. I didn't do it. And we get caught up in that. So a lot of what we recognize is in hindsight, and what we want to help you do today is get in front of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're going to get to know this loop really well, because this loop is what's holding us back, but it's also a part of who we are. It's part of our life. Like it's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like our self-talk and all this resistance, it's not going anywhere. Once again, especially when you have goals and you have a life that you're working on and you're building towards some really awesome things, like it's going to be there. And so the more that we get to know ourselves, the more that we get to see and observe these loops, the more that we can break the loop and break the cycle.
Yeah. And I just want to add here really quick before you dive into this part, babe, is that resistance is just, and I say this a lot to my clients because I think this helps dumb it down a little. It doesn't have to be so overcomplicated. Resistance stems from just our primal brains doing their job.
Yeah.
Our brains try to protect us from harm, right? When we think about it was about surviving in fight or flight mode, and we still have that primal brain. So when we go to do something that is hard or uncomfortable or new to us, our brain is still working in that primal space of, I don't want to, this is scary, this feels weird, this is new or awkward, no thank you. And resistance shows up. It really is that simple. So we don't have to overcomplicate that part of it, because some of you might be wondering, why does that happen?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? So that's it. It's just your brain doing its job.
Yeah. It's trying to keep you safe, keep you comfortable, keep you right where you are, because
avoiding pain.
Anything else is there's going to be a little bit of pain. There's going to be challenge. It might get you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And that's why it's working so hard to keep you right where you are. The very first time of the day when your resistance is going to show up, and this is going to introduce the loop, is first thing in the morning. Okay? Mm-hmm. The second that you open your eyes, what happens, Erin?
For me?
Yeah.
I start thinking about the day ahead and what's going on and what I have to get done. And I also often will be like, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm warm. It's been so cold here.
That's right. And so all these thoughts start to fire up. All these thoughts. And some of those thoughts, are about your day, and that can feel overwhelming and that can feel scary and a lot of other feelings. But it can that voice can also be saying to you, stay in bed. It's warm here. Let's not face the day yet. Let's hit snooze a few more times.
This is comfortable.
This is comfortable. This is warm. This is cozy. Why would you want to get out of bed? And so that thought then leads to the next step in the loop, which is a feeling, which is heaviness. And maybe you feel more tired, or you feel dread as you start to think about your day, or you feel overwhelmed, which is what I feel. Like if I wake up and I don't have a plan and I know what my steps are, that's when overwhelm really fires up strong for me personally. Yeah. And overwhelm can keep me exactly where I am, keep me frozen, keep me feeling heavy. And then that then leads to a lot of inner dialogue, because you start to beat yourself up. You start to be really hard on yourself. Now, that's not the only choice that we have in that moment, but that's our default, is we're hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves. We say, we always do this. We suck. We're not good enough. We can't do this. It's too hard. It's too this. Why can't we figure this out? Everybody else has this figured out. Why can't I do this thing?
Or sometimes the other thing, I should say, and it can be tricky, that inner dialogue. Sometimes that inner dialogue can be that what happens in hindsight as well. What can happen in the moment in this loop is trickier. It can be, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow.
Ah, yes.
I don't feel like it. It'll be fine. I'll just reschedule that. Chris and I do that often.
Yes, we do. You're right.
It'll be there tomorrow. There's a million other things I have to get done. So it can be very tricky. And that inner dialogue is where you got to really start paying attention, which we're going to get into that in a little bit of how do you pivot that.
Yeah.
But watch out for that inner dialogue. It's not always beating yourself up while you're in the loop. It's often the coyote, the trickster in there trying to talk you out of something to keep you safe, right?
And so that's the thing about all of this, all this noise in our head, all this self-talk and all these feelings. It's doing exactly that, is it's trying to get you to do something else instead of that thing that's important to you. It's trying to get you to procrastinate, to avoid, to get distracted, to numb yourself out, or maybe just quit. Throw your hands up in the air and say, forget it. I'll try again tomorrow, or I'll try again next week. Mm-hmm. Once again, whatever that thing is, that's what that voice in your head, that trickster that Erin just talked about, that's what it's trying to do. Literally every step that you take throughout your day. And this is happening if it goes unchecked, controlling your choices, controlling your actions.
Yeah, let me give you a really quick example because this might be helpful. I was on my way to the gym this morning, and I actually was going to the gym for a little self-care. To me, working out is self-care too, but today I was going to do the hot tub and the steam room and the cold plunge.
Okay,
I was taking a
that
break
sounds
off
great.
of lifting weights today, and I was a little hungry, and I got to the light where I would turn left to go to the gym, or I could go straight to go home, and yes, it's true. I was hungry. My stomach was growling a little, but I stopped at the light, and thank God I did, because I was like, wait a minute. I'm okay for 30 minutes to run in and do my cold plunge in my steam room. I can eat when I get home. See, I overcame that, but it was like, it's true. I was hungry, but it was more the resistance was there.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go home and get back under the heated blanket and get my computer out and start with my work for the day.
Yeah.
So that's just an example of how it can be tricky. It can tell us we're hungry, we're tired, we don't need to do this. There's more important things.
And here's how it's also tricky is, so say that voice wins. And so you go home instead of going to the gym. Mm-hmm. For a split second, you might actually feel relief.
Yeah.
You might feel good. You're like, oh, thank God. But what happens immediately after that is the part that we care about and that we're trying to change, which is you're going to feel bad. Yeah. You're going to feel regret. Your energy, your confidence is going to be low. You're
going to beat yourself up.
You're going to beat yourself up because you knew that this was something that was important to you. This was going to help you move forward and help you feel good. And that was the one thing that you decided not to do.
So it's that inner dialogue is what leads us to the action that we take or the inaction that we take. And then depending on that decision, whether we take the action or we don't, that results in the results you get, the outcome. And that ultimately is the results you have in your life. And so you can see how we wonder often why we stay in this loop over and over again. We have a thought about it. It creates an emotion or a feeling that triggers an inner dialogue around it, which we're often very unaware of, or we just give into. That results in the action or the inaction. And then those are the results we end up getting. And then if it's the result is either that we feel great, we're energized, we did it, we're proud of ourselves, we kicked ass, like we're so good, or we're, like Chris said, full of regret, low energy, beating ourselves up, negative self-talk, and then the loop just keeps repeating itself.
Yeah, and I think that the more we're talking about this now is that what's coming into a clear picture in my mind is that this is everybody that we talk to. Mm-hmm. So these symptoms, low confidence, lack of motivation, lack of follow through, lack of clarity on their future, parents that aren't proud of the parenting style or how they react to their kids in certain situations. Mm-hmm. It's all because of this lack of control. not seeing this loop happening in our minds and letting it control our actions and behaviors and what we do or don't do, what we say or don't say, and how that makes us feel. And so when we get down to the core of like how Erin and I help people, this is really where it's at. This is how we help young adults, but this is also how we help parents. This is how anybody is going to get the most help.
Yeah, this is how we help ourselves. This is how we try to help our own kids. Doesn't always work out, but so what do we do about this? So where's the pivot here? So the pivot is breaking free of that loop and getting yourself into what we called the momentum loop. Okay. And what's interesting here is there's a little lag time often. And right. So this is true with like when you think of a New Year's resolution, right? You have this goal and there's this lag time between setting the goal and starting to build the momentum. And this is where it can get really tricky, where you're really going to have to watch your inner dialogue and be very mindful. So let me take you through the steps of this momentum loop. So this is how you can start approaching these things. Is number one, you need clarity. So let me go back to my example of sitting at the light today. Do I go to the gym? Do I go home to eat? I had that moment of clarity when the light turned red and I was like, wait a minute. And I was able to, I think something they say in like AA or the 12-step program is like playing that tape through, right? Play the movie all the way through. And remember, I'm at a red light. This was like 10 seconds, but I had a brief moment of clarity where I could play the tape through. And I recognized, I'm like, Erin, you're going to feel amazing. You keep your word to yourself. That cold plunge always is like such an elation for me. It makes me feel so amazing. Then you can go home and eat knowing you were accomplished and you got done what you said you were going to do. And you're physically and psychologically going to feel good. So that was my clarity. That was that intentional clarity I had. We have to get clear about why we're doing something and why it's important to us. And that doesn't have to be long and drawn out. It can be a split second of clarity. Because what happens then is that is going to lead to more inspired and intentional action, right? I turned left and went to the gym. That was inspired action. That was intentional. It wasn't mindless. Mindless would have just been driving straight home and eating. And then what happens from there is, what does that lead to? That leads to that dopamine hit, right? That energy that we're looking for. And it's not the other way around. It's like, okay, you get that feel good, that pleasure. And that's where things can start to, that's where the momentum starts to build. When we release that serotonin, that dopamine, we start feeling good about ourselves. We have that proud feeling that we did something amazing. And that, my friends, is how you start to get new outcomes. Because once you start to build that momentum, you start building trust with yourself. And Chris and I say this all the time to the kids we work with. There is no magic wand. The only wand there is rapport and trust with yourself. And the way that we build confidence and pride in ourselves and we feel good about ourselves and we want to keep doing something over and over again is by building that rapport and trust. And that's this momentum loop. That's how you get going. That's how you get better self-talk, more positive emotions in your life. You get better results and you want to keep doing these things over and over again. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to fall off sometimes. It doesn't mean that I don't often go through the light and go home to eat, so to speak. You know what I'm trying to say. That could be a million different scenarios. It just means that you'll get better and better over time. And this doesn't have to take 3 years. It doesn't even have to take 3 months. If you start practicing this momentum loop more often over just a 30-day period, you are going to be absolutely blown away at how quickly this starts to stick.
It's pretty incredible. And it gets you back in control. That's really what feels good, is when you're in control of your choices, you're in control of your life, you're getting better results. Man, those 3 things are what make us feel good. That's what builds up our confidence each and every day. One thing I want to add, Erin, to clarity. It's great to have clarity in the moment, but even before that moment, you can plan your day. You can spend a few minutes organizing and planning and getting intentional about this. These are the few things. It doesn't have to be 10 things. These are the few things that are going to make this a really good day. It can be getting to the gym. It could be a specific project that you're working on. If you're a young adult, it could be homework. If you're a parent, it could be just taking some self-care time like Erin was talking about earlier. Yeah. Like that's a good day for you. And so going into that day, like, these are my commitments. These are the things that when I'm in that moment and I'm checking in with myself and I'm getting clarity, I'm realigning with that why. Why is this important to me? That puts you back into control.
Yeah, it's really that sort of idea that we hear a lot of. It's not about what's happening when everyone's watching you. It's what you do when no one's looking. And it's those are the commitments we're talking about to yourself. And that's exactly what I did this morning is I thought, what am I up to today? I'm focusing on these 3 things for work. I have this with the kids. And for myself, I don't want to go to the gym today because I'm sore, but I still wanted to do something to take care of myself. And so I had that plan. And so I think that is what helped me when I got to that light today to say, no, I'm following through. I know I'm going to feel better. And Chris and I know we hold each other accountable the best we can, because I'll say, don't reschedule that, or don't miss your run tonight. You're not going to feel good about yourself. And so that's something you can do too, whether it's like getting your kids involved or getting your partner on board or getting some girlfriends or your buddies on board, whatever that is, like getting people involved and saying, hey, let's hold each other accountable to some of our like mini commitments. And that kind of brings us to the next step, which is how do you start putting this into practice in a really simple way? Because remember, if we can practice small, we start small with some of these really intentional, simple daily commitments. This is what leads to you following through with the big stuff. And so how do you do that? And this is really easy, you guys, if you're driving right now or you're at home, whatever you're doing, I want you to just think right now, what's one small commitment you can start today that you can commit to for the rest of the week, for the next whole week, the next 7 days. So an example might be just a 10-minute walk outside every day, no matter what, no matter the weather, no matter what's going on, you commit to that 10-minute walk. Maybe it's getting up 30 minutes earlier every day this week so you can have a better morning routine and meditate and be intentional for the day. Those are just some examples. You figure out what's best for you, but keep it simple. Don't make it monumental. And you follow through. You go through the momentum loop. Because the thing is, when you're intentional about doing something every day, when the resistance loop shows up, you're going to recognize it.
Yeah.
It's going to be clear as day. And you can go through those steps and recognize, okay, I'm having a thought about this, about my walk. Say the time comes for you to go for the walk. A thought comes up. It's raining out. Okay, it's raining out. I don't want to get cold. I don't feel like it. It's raining or it's snowing. It's going to suck. I'm going to be freezing when I get home. I just don't want to do this today. And that's going to lead you to the self-talk. And that's going to lead you to whether you get out and take the walk or not.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have an opportunity to play that tape through and think about, how am I going to feel? I'm going to feel so much better if I follow through. If I don't, probably going to beat myself up later this evening for not doing it. So that's where you have that choice. Do I stay in the resistance loop, or do I make the choice to transition and pivot into the momentum loop?
I want the momentum loop.
Yes, we all do.
And we know you do too. And just remember, so nobody is going to be perfect. Nobody is going to follow through 100% of the time, especially when you're first getting started. And so you got to be graceful with yourself. You got to be patient. You got to realize that you want to get better at something. It takes practice. But when you get intentional about this, you get intentional about checking in with yourself before you do one of your commitments, and you notice some of that resistance, that helps to get you back in control so that you can start to get yourself moving. You can start to say, yes, I'm making this choice for all the right reasons. You know what it's going to feel like on the other side of the fence. And something that I talk to especially young adults about all the time, but also parents, is that the less time that you spend in your head right before you do something, the less that resistance is going to have sway over you. And so, yes, you want to go through the loop and you want to observe it to help yourself knock yourself out of the loop, but then you want to take that step forward. You want to get started on that walk, or walk into the gym, or get up in the morning, or write that chapter of a book, or study those 3 chapters of your homework. You want to get started right away, because that process of getting started is ultimately what makes us feel good.
Yeah. You just got to move forward. And yeah, you might be thinking, Chris and Erin, I can go for a 10-minute walk. I'm talking about this really big thing that I've been trying to do.
Ah, yes.
And I get that. But what I want to remind you of, my friends, is that it's these small little steps. It's these tiny little commitments. It can even be smaller than a 10-minute walk. If it just means I'm going to empty the dishwasher like before I go to bed so that I don't have to do it in the morning, whatever it is, intentionally find something very simple that you're going to commit to for the next week. The whole point of this is that it's intentional and you're more mindful and you're aware of the action so that you can recognize the resistance and you can start to pivot it.
Yeah. You're making different choices.
Yeah.
And that feels good. It means that tomorrow's or today's not going to be the same as yesterday was. Tomorrow's not going to be the same as today.
Yeah.
And that's a great feeling. And so, no, it doesn't take anything big. A lot, Erin, is that if you are working towards a bigger goal, whatever that goal is, think about that right now. Like to train yourself to be able to make that choice or make that commitment or follow through with that thing. It starts with these micro things that you're going to do every single day, these choices, navigating this resistance, building yourself up, proving to yourself that you can follow through, no matter how small it is. That's preparing and training you to take some of those bigger steps, to write that book, which I know Erin wants to write this year.
I know.
Or
you
for
said
me,
write that chapter. I knew that was a little
I
jab.
was looking right at you.
And I want to say, too, one last thing here, and we'll let you go for the week. But if this is something that involves somebody else, because this just came to mind, too. If you're a parent and you're thinking, I want to commit to not reacting to my child this week.
Yeah.
Right? And I've been working on this with my daughter, like not reacting to her begging for things. And when I say no, it turns into this whole thing. And especially when it comes to that and it's somebody else involved, it's going to be a little more challenging, and that's okay. What I want to encourage you is if you're not able to overcome that resistance right in the moment when it comes to reacting to things, just when you have a minute afterwards, go back through the momentum loop and just recognize where you could have done things a little bit differently, you could have followed through a little bit differently. I just want to remind you, none of this is to judge yourself or to beat yourself up. This is just self-observation.
Yeah.
So initially, this is just you observing yourself, going through whether I follow through or I don't. It's okay, have grace with yourself, but this is about just waking up to that invisible struggle a little bit more so that you are back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, we want to get better.
Yeah.
Like, we're not perfect, far from it, especially in my case. But no, you want that feeling of progress. Not perfect progress, imperfect progress, but progress every single day. And all it takes is one of these different choices, overcoming or navigating some of this resistance, giving yourself a little bit more control over how you respond in different situations, getting out for a walk every single day. All the things we talked about today, that's building us up, right? So that we can learn, and that tomorrow we challenge ourselves, take another step or get a little bit better or do something a little bit differently. That's how this loop works.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, good luck this week. Practice that momentum loop, self-observation, and we love you all. We can't wait to talk to you again next week.
See you guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye. We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.